Alright, so version 2 of stock options now. We have our updated components, which we have our coloured player boards, which we also have our meeple, which currently I've only got these to sort of place hold. Unfortunately, they're very little, but I have green and red meeples for each board. The stockpile, as we know, and then we also have our updated board with our worker placement slots, and then our updated customer cards with our actual updated sides to each of the cards being easier to read. So now we can actually tuck after we've scored or completed their order and easily read what we've done, whether it's a booking or a takeaway or a VIP. So that's the basic rundown of the components. So for the worker placement, we have the concept of us rolling our dice. So we roll our two dice. We take 2 from the pot from our budget. We do 1 from the opponent's pot with the icon of the spoon, and then we move one of our meeples to a chosen slot. So just for example, I go here, which basically means I get to take 2 more. All of these icons are listed in the legend. So this just gives more choice and agency, but also acts as a timer for the prep phase. So this is the first phase being prep. Next player's turn, they roll the dice, they get to take 1 from there, they get to follow the event dice, they get to place their worker, they might go here and take a further 2. So now we press pause, Debbie. I found some. Alright, so stock options version 2. So we've got updated components, our player boards being color coded. We've actually got worker placement now with our coloured meeple. Obviously these are incredibly tiny. I'm just using them as placeholders. The other thing is, in my assessment, I'll say the cardboard discs, which I obviously don't have punch out cards for, so I've just got, for the purpose of the video, still using the cubes. So each player has their colour-coded meeple, which will be customised shape for visually impaired, and in my assessment you'll see the answer to the cubes being fixed with the visually impaired as well, like the accessibility. So that's our updated player boards with our worker placements. Then we also have our updated kitchen board, which has our basic dice faces and just more choices for the player, giving them more agency over their turn rather than just relying on the dice roll. Then we've also updated our customer cards, so we've pushed the cubes or the recipe ingredients to each side, so they're easier to see and tell from a distance what you're going to go for, of what their point values are. But that also means that when you do successfully cook for a customer, let's say a booking, you can tuck it under like this and easily just calculate the points, but remember what side you cooked for them. So it's either the booking side, the takeaway side, or the VIP side. So that's basically the updated customer cards that I have. Now I do also have the introduced white cube, which you may have noticed in some of this already. That I don't have represented here, but that's just salt, and basically it's worth no points, and if you have 3 in your pot, you basically have to throw them into the waste bin. Which brings me on to the next addition, which is the physical little wheelie bin, the waste bin. So when there is waste, it's going to be dumped into here, and this is going to just represent, the waste that's caused from hospitality industry alone, let alone just Australians' waste, and sort of try and highlight that to people as they play it. But as they go out for dinner, they might think about that differently. So just to give a quick play for play, let's say it's this player's turn. We roll, they get to take 2 cubes from the stockpile onto the board, into their pot, and then they get to do a, what's this, re-roll this one, so they get to take another one. Cool. So now that would normally be the end of their turn, but what we have now is the worker placement. So to end their turn, they get to place one of their waiters on either column, either QA, QB, or QC, which will represent which customers that they're sort of serving as well, but also which triggers. So let's say they go to this one, and then they take one from their player's pot and put it here. Cool. So that's the end of their turn. This player's turn, they roll, they get to take one from here, and they get to take one back from their pot. And then they also get to place their worker, which there's another spoon here. They might actually take another one from their pot. So as these workers get placed between players' turns, let's just push the game forward a little bit here. So as this all workers are placed, ends the prep phase, and we go into the cooking phase. So the cooking phase now is where each player sees who's got the most meeple in each spot. So the green player's got the most in QA, red player's got the most in QC, but this is tied in QB. So we as players can now choose in the cooking phase which one we're going to go for. So I obviously as a green player can go here, but I can choose to go for QB. So the way I represent that is I will have a chef meeple, a little green chef meeple, that I will move on to said customer. Let's say I'm going for QA. I'm safe, no one can really mess with me and my decisions of what meal I'm going to cook. Let's say this opponent puts their chef one there, it's the same deal, we both get to just choose our meals and cook. But because we tied for the middle, that does mean we can put both of our head chef meeples on the same customer. That will trigger a cook-off, to which we now, keeping our chef meeples there, we know we're cooking for that. We will now roll, and I got 3, so I take 3 of the recipe out. Now it's your turn, you roll, bring this out. So the first person to cook the meal gets the chef, gets the customer's meal completed. So that's the main concepts that I've tried to say. Let's just push this forward again. I won this one, and I did a takeaway order. It goes under here. I got 6 points, and it's public knowledge. Everyone on the table can see that I've got that. Let's say my opponent scored this, and they got the actual booking, so they put it on this side. They got 16 points, so they're clearly in front. And we move on to the next stage. We refresh our customers, and then we move into phase 2 of prep, where we will take all of our meeples back and begin swapping first player token. So that's the main changes. The things that I really wanted to showcase was the meeple and the worker placement is a fix for the player getting in front straight away. The UX of accessibility for colorblind players, having tokens with visual cardboard tokens as well as colored. Also the mess of the table and having the tuckable player board and design of the cards means it's an easier flow. And also the waste bin, which is another representation of waste through the industry, but it means instead of piling all the things I've cooked for my customers, they go back to the bag and they get recycled. The waste bin is the way that it regulates the bag. So I feel like it sort of covers all the premises there. So that's basically it.